about the logo again? I'm gonna tell Wyatt about the logo. I'm telling you. I have to.
I'm just dropping off the. Okay.
I mean, I'm sort of okay.
I've already soaked everything that you say is now being treated. So just keep talking about my birds.
Did you say Bronwyn's in charge?
No, Cameron's in charge. We're gonna have.
That's why I said that.
We're waiting for fearless leader. I gotta go in the
I'll blame him. Hey, look at that. It's all there. 2 days of minutes.
Oh, shoot. Oh, there he is. Okay, we waiting for you, Cameron.
Real quick, if you guys can all sign in on the sign-in sheet, please do so.
Why?
Cameron,
Where is him?
Cameron, we are live and those.
My little boys.
A bit long.
You're excused.
Is it already been called to order?
No, we're waiting
No.
for you. Nothing starts till you get here.
All right. Any conflicts of interest today? No. Sean? No. Angelia?
No.
Cameron, no. Wyatt?
No.
Thanks, Bronwyn. All no's then. So we'll move on to number 3, review and possible approval of draft minutes for August 10th, 2022.
I had one thing. Regarding my comments about Houston's lack of zones, and said said that there's good amount of zones. That is not what I intended, if that's what I said.
That isn't what you said.
Yeah, I don't.
No,
Yeah.
it was not.
Why don't we just change that to Wyatt had a comment about Houston zoning?
That sounds good.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
on number 4, commissioner comments.
Yeah, yep. Right under number 4,
It's in third line,
So-
number 4.
just says, Wyatt commented that Houston has no zoning, and in some ways that's good. I didn't say it, and in some ways that's good.
Just say Wyatt commented on Houston zoning.
That it?
Yeah.
Sean, did you have anything on that? I didn't.
Those were short minutes.
Oh, you want them to be longer?
Hush.
No, I was expecting them to be a little longer. That was great. No, I have no other changes.
Well, there's,
Bronwyn?
no, there's a few, it's fine. We're good. It looks like a Virgin Town meeting minute. I like
Is there
it.
some spelling or?
Yeah, there's a
something?
few spelling things, but we'll just move on.
Well, we can,
What's not?
we just.
Where is it?
I like it. It's
All right, I'll entertain a motion then.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes for the meeting last month.
I say,
Do you want to include the changes?
And I'd
that
like
were-
to include the changes made by Crystal from,
Wyatt's comment.
about the Houston comment from Wyatt.
I have a motion to approve the approve the minutes with Wyatt's comments as changed by Crystal. Do I have a second?
second.
Ron made the motion, Wyatt seconded the motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right.
Did you talk to me yet?
We're
Cameron,
gonna- As a point of order, we'll move commissioner comments to the end
sweet.
so we can get on to the public hearing.
You want a motion to open that?
Cameron, just real quick, point of order as well. Got an individual here who wanted to see you before the meeting and discuss possibility of moving his item to another place on the agenda at your discretion. If you want to ask him about that. The last one.
Yeah. Yeah, we can move that up to now. That'd be fine. Bronwyn, blaming you.
For the feedback?
So with that point of order, we'll move discussion and recommendation to approve or deny lot line adjustment for lot 66 and 65 for Rio de Zion. We'll move that up to now. And then if you want to go ahead, proceed, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, Eric McFadden with Premier Design. Just a simple lot line adjustment. Technically, it's a final plat amendment out in Rio de Sion, 65 and 66. We got comments back from Carl Rasmussen, a few things that he wanted to change. He did have, the only comment that we would like to discuss with you guys is he wants us to make the lot 100 feet wide. We're currently at 9.2, about 3.08 feet off the 100 feet. I know there's issues out there with the percolation test, and if we're going to change the lot line, more than likely that percolation will be redone for any home that's built on there. So we'd prefer to just keep the two lines parallel with each other. What we did is we held the front corner of the bulb and just paralleled the south property line to the north. And we ended up with 96.92 feet. There's other lots in there that are not 100 feet wide. I know with the health department, it's kind of their minimum, but it doesn't really, it's not a minimum that's required by the subdivision. So I think if we're going to trigger the fact to redo the percolation test for lot 65, we'd like to just keep the two lines parallel with
The perk tests have to be done again. That's the best way to do it for you.
If not, we'll make it 100 feet. It doesn't really matter either way. But we don't want to put a little jog in the front of it at the
No.
10-foot setback for no reason.
Okay. Anybody have any? Sean, do you have any questions? And then Gene has a comment.
Maybe the comment would be appropriate.
Gene, do you have
before
a
I
question
make
or
that.
you just have a comment? Okay. All right, so we'll take anybody have any questions first for him?
So what original size of that lot in acres, and then what is it currently?
I don't know the original, but it's currently going to be about 16,497 with the new change.
So, Sean, it's just a cluster situation, so it was Carl that decided that it wasn't enough. 98.6, whatever, wasn't
It's-
enough. And it's in our,
It's,
anyway, the point is there's not a lot we can do except for just,
is there in our ordinances, are we requiring 100? Foot.
it's a clustered situation, so I don't know if it matters, right?
He might have a comment that could resolve
Hey,
my question.
What's your question, Sean?
All right, he's saying that the 100-foot in the back, the rear lot line is supposed to be 100-foot according to the engineer. I'm just asking what the justification of that 100-foot.
Okay, so that's not a question for him.
I think that was
If
to
he
do
can
with the
answer.
percolation after speaking with him.
Okay, that's all
Anybody else have any questions?
my rear lot line is 100 feet.
All right. I don't have any other questions. Gene, you had a comment on this?
Carl made his recommendation for 100-foot wide width based off 3410, which is the minimum area and width and yard requirements. The problem is where there's density considerations in there, as long as it's not affecting the open space, I don't personally see why it makes a difference if it's 96 or not. He used the argument that the tables for the percolation factors were done on every lot, and there's a table that goes with the original plat. When you adjust those, he says, you have to redo those. He said, if you moved it to 100 feet, he figured you would not need to redo the percolation factor or, percolation pits. But again, as far as I can see, I think it's just, he's going off of 3410, where it says for the rural residential district, your width is 100 feet, which is kind of moot since it's in a platted subdivision with clustering.
Okay, just like what you said. I agree.
All right, so discussion on this item. You can have a seat, sir.
All right.
Thanks. If we have any questions, we'll call you back up. But I think everyone's good. Anybody have any discussion they want to put forth on this one?
no, just that, he just mentioned that the best thing to do is just,
But in my opinion, we keep it at 100 feet. That's what the minimum width is required by the zone.
okay,
But it's not required by the zone.
It's not
but it's
required by
clustered,
that
is
zone.
it still?
It is required by the zone.
Thanks, Mary.
34.10 minimum area width and yard requirements. Minimum area 43,560 square feet unless it's clustered. Minimum width 100.
And did you say unless it's clustered?
It is clustered.
It is clustered.
It is clustered, but there's nothing in there. There's nothing in our clustering ordinance that states that it exempts the width requirement.
The only reason we brought the question up is because lot 61, which is 4 lots down, is only 94.1 feet.
So, I don't-
Consistency with what's already platted it would be sufficient as is. Consistency with that regulation in the ordinance. You're saying it has to be 100 according to
Yes.
the width.
That's my interpretation.
So it says unless it's clustered, but then in the clustering ordinance, we don't have any other,
The clustering ordinance only makes reference to the lot area, not
right?
not any of the setbacks, not any of the minimum
And it
widths.
still doesn't meet 3410, is what you're saying.
It does not,
Okay.
not that I could find. I don't doubt that there's other lots in there, but past discretion does not require us to do further.
Or indiscretion, either one.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, yeah, indiscretion, my bad, yeah.
So it meets the area.
No,
It meets the area because that subdivision was clustered.
Yes.
well then why is it,
So to be consistent with what's already platted, this would be
Fine,
fine.
yes,
So I can make a motion.
go ahead.
I'm make a motion that we approve the lot line adjustment for item M on the agenda. For lots 66 and 65 in Rio de Zion. That's it. I'm not going to read the
I have
rest.
a
of it.
recommendation I have a motion to recommend approval of the lot line adjustment, lot 66 and 65, Rio de Zion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sean's made the motion, Wyatt seconded the motion. Any further discussion?
Do we need to put in this recommendation that we expect that they'll have to be, percolate others to
No.
Okay.
No. Any else? Any other discussion? We'll vote. Sean?
Yes.
Angelia?
Yes.
Cameron, no. Wyatt?
Yes.
No.
The motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Cameron, for adjusting that. He lives in Ivans and
Yeah,
wasn't hoping to have to stay through the whole meeting, so.
yeah, that would be a long stay. All right, so now we'll move on to, as a point of order, we'll move the discussion item of STR's chapter 60 as well into the regular meeting. We will put it after commissioner comments will go to the end, STRs will go to. We'll go to the beginning of the discussion items. So I'll entertain a motion to open the public meeting.
Second.
No, we gotta make the motion. You
Oh,
can do
I
it.
have to make a-
Yeah, just say so moved.
So moved.
So moved.
Angelia's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Bronwyn seconds that motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. We're now in our public hearing. We'll start with item letter A. This is the continued public hearing from July 13th, 2022, proposed subdivision preliminary plat for Quail Mesa subdivision from Jeff Lee. Jeff, do you have any updates to this one?
Yeah, sounds like a broken record. I do have an update. The geotechnical should be done. It's done. Jeff Lee. I was trying to think of something funny to say like jail, but geotechnical is now done. The slope analysis, for the homes below is finished. I was hoping to have the wastewater treatment stuff all diagrammed 10 days ago to turn in so I could present it tonight. And I'm realizing I still don't have it. It's been that 10 days. I always thought I'd have it 10 days ago, but I mean, I've been emailing them every day right now and they're just trying to finalize the stuff for that. So broken record. I'm still waiting on the one piece now, which is wastewater treatment, but everything else is, everything else is done. So
Excellent.
I'm asking for pushing it again.
1 month this time?
Yes, I think it really gives me like 2 more weeks to get stuff in because I have
Correct.
got to, but they're saying they're really close. So let's say 1 month.
Yeah.
Wait for Crystal to look at me and
whenever
roll her
he
eyes.
Or we could just do it when
She
he gets
rolled
his
them while
stuff.
she was looking down.
Or I could present it when it's finished, whatever you
Yeah.
guys want. So,
Well, we have to extend the public here. We have
Oh,
to
yeah.
extend the public hearing on it to a specific amount of
Okay,
time.
Sorry, let me just.
Okay.
Dock it again.
Sounds good.
anything else for me?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Go home.
I think we're close.
Please take note on item F, change of October.
Thanks, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. We did change October's meeting.
To the 13th.
Correct. Yes. Anyone else have any comments on the Quail Mesa subdivision?
Sorry, one other thing is, just as I know people were wondering about the tractors and stuff, and that was part of the slope analysis. Also, been talking with the Staples and stuff to try to figure out a better wastewater or stormwater discharge. Right now the goalie comes down and right in front of the mayor's current house, there's the pipes that they added last year, but there still is a capacity issue. And so we've been looking at increasing the amount of, increasing, I don't know, putting more culverts in that would take water over to Cornelius Wash to help make sure that that area drains without going over the road towards the mayor's house and causing a problem. So we're working through that and we'll work with engineers on that. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? All right. I'll make a motion that we extend the public hearing on item letter A, Quail Creek Mesa subdivision preliminary plat until October 13th, 2022's meeting.
Second.
We are currently in a public hearing. And this-
I know, but we have
We have to have. a
we have to
public hearing
extend
open.
the public hearing in the public hearing.
Yep.
So Cameron made the motion, Bronwyn seconded the motion. Any further discussion? So we're just gonna take we won't do a roll call vote, we'll just do a complete vote. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? That public hearing has been extended. Now we'll move on to item letter B. This is the continued public hearing from July 13th, the proposed subdivision preliminary plat for Zion Landing subdivision from Justin Christiansen. This is the one located on Pocketville Road.
Hey, good evening, Justin Christensen here. I've submitted, I think, all the documents that we have so far, which is the traffic study, the soils report, preliminary CCNRs, HOA documents, and I think the traffic study.
Is there anyone that you're missing?
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
everything's there.
Thank you.
Oh, and the wastewater or the stormwater studies there as well.
Stormwater and
Yeah.
wastewater, perfect. All right. I imagine those are all in our folder in Design Edge.
Yep.
Excellent. Well. Perfect. So we'll just open that up to the public then. Take any public comments on that preliminary plat at this time. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Any public comments on letter B? No public comments on that one at this time. We'll move on to letter C, the proposed subdivision final plat for Zion Edge subdivision from John Staples, located east of Rio de Zion. I do believe we have all the documents from them as well, correct? Yeah. Yep, that's what they're saying. Those should also all be in your folder. Is there any public comment on this item? You just come on up, state your name, and then make your comment.
So I'm Janet Wood. I'm one of the original residents at Rio de Sion. It's my understanding that these are going to be sold as vacation rentals. Is that correct?
I believe that in their CCNRs, it did state that they were going to be open to vacation rentals.
Okay, so I understand, I mean, developers do what developers do. So the only safeguard for the residents of Rio de Sion is our town council and our planning commission. So on behalf of many of them who live there, I would like you to consider the increased traffic, the noise, what it feels like to have parties, you know, in homes on either side of our entry street. When I first moved there in '09, we were assured that there would be a second bridge to divert traffic. And I understand there's a fire code issue, but I believe there's also a traffic issue. So somehow that's all been, the need for the second bridge has been eliminated due to the necessity of fire sprinklers in new residences. But now we're left with this overwhelming traffic issue in that bridge, which obviously is going to get worse with the proposed subdivision up Quail Mesa. And then we're going to have nightly rentals next door to our homes, which were supposed to be our forever homes. We, you know, as David Whitehead used to call them, generational homes to pass down to family members. The flavor isn't, they don't coincide. And I don't expect any, you know, I'm not naive. I don't expect a developer to change their plans. We're just asking you to safeguard our interests as well. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
John Watson. I'm in Rio Design also. I have to concur with Nanette. We moved from Dixie Springs because of vacation rentals and the stuff that takes place when you have in a single family residential development. All of a sudden you get vacation rentals coming in. Nobody controls them. People are paying a lot of money for them. They do whatever they want to do. So there's a lot of racing around on motorcycles, side by sides. There's a lot of late night parties going on. And it caused a real problem in Dixie Springs and any other subdivision that I've heard of that has single family ownership. And then all of a sudden they start incorporating the nightly rentals or the short-term rentals. So I don't think we need to look very far to find out the problems that are created by that. So let's leave it at that.
Thank you, John. Letters, yeah. Anyone else had any comments before we go to the letters? Do we have copies of the letters for
We do.
people in the audience if they wish to read them? Yeah, sweet. All right. So if you haven't read those letters, they will be attached as official meeting notes to the minutes. Just go ahead and take the time to read those. They're pretty lengthy, so we won't read them all out loud. Just take a minute and we'll read those if anyone in the audience wants a copy to read. Are from Bill Statry and Sautry. Well, you know, I can't read. It's okay. And the other one was from Lauren Campbell, correct? All right.
Darlene Pope, I'm just
Oh.
curious, has everyone sitting in this commission read both of those letters themselves, just for the record?
We're taking a few minutes to do that for those that haven't right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Darlene. Crystal, for some reason, when I try to open the folder for Zion Edge and for Quell Mesa, I get nothing. I just get an error message. There it is.
I just sent you a new link.
Oh, okay.
Is it working now? You got it?
Yeah, it opened now, yeah. Were both these letters in that file? Oh, yeah,
I've read them, would you want mine?
there's one neighbor letter in there. Second.
Those are from past ones. I just need the file.
Oh, those are past neighbor letters.
I just keep everything together in that file and do it. So once we're done, I'll scan these into the file.
Okay, I was gonna say, 'cause I didn't see them in there when I was reviewing the material. These ones.
Yeah. I scan these in after,
Okay.
so I know that they're not getting mistaken for what's currently already run red.
Gotcha, that makes sense, thank you. Everyone done? Anyone else before we close that, or before we move on from that?
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
I haven't heard what is going to be done with that intersection there. We got more homes going in now. We got a KOA camp going in with, you could have up to 60-foot plus rigs trying to pull out onto that intersection. You got 65 miles an hour to just a few yards before you really hit that intersection. I talking to UDOT. UDOT says they're not going to do anything. It's basically, they said they got too many other important things to worry about. It's pretty simple math when you sit down and calculate the couple that were killed that one night. If that speed limit is at least dropped down to 45 miles an hour before you get there, and extend that 45 miles an hour all the way down to Desert, I'm not sure what, Desert Gardens. You know, you're stopping within 100 feet at 45 miles an hour. You're over 600 feet at 65 miles an hour. 45 miles an hour, there's a good chance that couple would still be alive. So I know UDOT's not going to do anything, but what is the city going to do to, I mean, if you're starting to pull, I understand that the KOA camp's going to access that same road in and out. I really don't want to be sitting there for 15, 20 minutes during busy season trying to get out on that road because you got some big rigs trying to get out. So whether that's whatever it is, there's got to be something, because you're going to have emergency vehicles that aren't going to be able to get in and out. You're going to have a lot of stuff. And so anyways, that's just a big question that I'd like to hear.
State your name for the record.
John Watson. John Watson.
Thank you again, John. All right, we'll move on to letter D now. And we will get to answering and discussing those topics that everyone brought up, just not in this public hearing portion of the meeting. All right, so we're gonna move on to letter D. Amending sections of Vulu Casita and removing size restrictions from attached casita. The reason for change and the effects are as listed. 1, bring Vulu into compliance with Utah State Law 10-9A-530 2B-i.
Different one, Crystal.
And then
He's on the casita
2,
one.
2, changing language from casita to accessory dwelling unit. And 3, removing size restrictions from internal accessory dwelling units throughout Virgin. All right. Any comments from the public on the changes proposed in regards to casitas and accessory dwelling units? Sorry. I can't sit over there. The sun was
Just a
like-
question about protocol. Do you know, because it is my current understanding that city code cannot be less stringent than county or state code, but it can be more. And so therefore that would, if that is true, and my understanding of what you're saying here is, then a auxiliary dwelling unit or accessory dwelling unit could actually be larger than the initial dwelling unit. And why would we do this? Thank you.
Thank you,
Yes,
Darlene.
Darlene Pope.
Anyone else comment on accessory dwelling units? Okay, we'll move on to letter E. This is the amending chapter 2.12 definition changes L through Z. The reasons for this change was to simplify definitions, remove regulations from definitions, add new definitions to better fit the use of the current ordinance. Regulations in definitions have been moved to their respective locations throughout BULU. All right, I don't see any on. We'll move on to letter F. This will be the change of planning and zoning meeting dates from October 12th, which will be moved to October 13th. And the change of the date from December 7th, moved to December 12th. These changes were made on date Bronwyn. Just want to make sure everyone.
Not true.
And I was just teasing about that. It's just Bronwyn.
It's okay, I'm only a little
Okay.
offended.
Anyone have any comments on the changes?
Just checking my calendar.
All right. We'll move on to then, and I'll entertain a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion to close the public hearing and open the public meeting.
Bronwyn made a motion to close the public hearing and open the public meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Wyatt, second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Okay, so we're going to start with open forum. Open forum is 2 minutes per speaker to discuss any item that's not, preferably not currently on the agenda. All right, looks like no takers for open forum today. All right, so we'll move to G. Discussion and recommendation to approve or deny proposed subdivision preliminary plat, Quell Mesa subdivision for Jeff Lee.
Wait, is that the one?
That's the one.
That's when we continue.
We tabled the public hearing.
Not, we continued it.
Continued it, yeah. So I'll entertain a motion to continue this portion as well.
What was that fancy word you told her to say?
No, you
So
can't.
moved.
So moved.
Okay,
That's
we're
actually
not
2
supposed
words.
to do that.
That's why it was so fancy.
How if we just make a motion? Go, Wyatt, you got this.
Make a motion to table the public meeting, the
Continue.
approval or denial, or continue the public, approval or denial of Jeff Lee's proposed subdivision of Oil Mesa to next month.
Wyatt's made a motion to continue the public meeting on number G, Quail Creek Mesa subdivision until October. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bronwyn seconded that motion. All in favor? Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? October. All right, we'll move on to H. Discussion and recommendation to approve or deny proposed subdivision preliminary plat, Zion Landing subdivision, from Justin Christensen. There's no public comment on this one. This is Zion Landing, right? Yeah.
So did we have it with any of the,
I didn't see any. I remember when this came through before, and I didn't see any to what was before, so I think it looks good.
what did, was there anything significant that we're missing?
Justin Christensen here. Nothing really significant. I think they made slightly the drainage retention pond bigger, but other than that, it's similar to what was previously approved. So, yeah.
Gene, did you have all of that?
Any documentation on this one, Crystal?
Is there anything else?
Okay.
No, we looked at it all.
We went a little bit above and done freedom, CCNR, and
Have you determined with your CCNRs what the dues are going to have to maintain that community sewer system?
No, we haven't because it's not fully designed until we, really get the final plat. Then we'll understand the cost. That's why we did the HOA. Somebody's got to maintain the sewer system. Somebody's got to maintain those grounds over there. So that's why we did the HOA.
Okay, but you'll include.
So yeah, so we'll come up with, I think right now we have, annual dues of $100. Once we start to sell the lots, we would, or prior to that, we would change whatever based on, our estimates are for, taking care of the grounds over there, taking care of, everything that goes into the HOA.
Okay, so if I'm understanding you correctly, you're saying that you will have initial dues of $100, and that would basically be to maintain an or mostly unused area and system, and then as you sell lots, those
That is correct.
purchasers
We would
would have
probably
to-
change it actually before we sell lots, once we know like the exact size of the system and, once we start to get a little bit of like quotes on what it's going to take care of that, property over there, the common area, and we'll make those changes before we sell any lots.
Okay. I think what the town, myself, see is that there is an estimate put forward.
Yeah.
With the final plat
Okay.
as to what that due is going to be.
Yeah.
Just so that the engineer and the town staff can review that. And that maybe they can even help work through with you on what that
Yeah.
cost is gonna be.
Okay.
Because
Yeah,
what
that's
this,
super doable.
yeah, what the city wouldn't want to see happen is there's not enough.
The residents, they get a vote on things. So, I mean, those things would change and have all that budget in place before on the final.
Okay.
Anything
you.
else?
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just one comment on your, I think it's in the CCNRs. It does mention Casita, and tonight we're going to be talking about that. So just that one little adjustment in those might
Yeah, on the
Might be
final,
necessary.
you guys do
Yeah.
the- okay.
Yep, just mentioning it so you can catch it later.
Any more discussion on this item? Anybody have anything else?
Pretty standard. It looks just a lot like it did before.
Yeah, it does.
Your perk tests all said that they support your, I haven't gone through each individual perk test. You know, not for sure.
I believe so. That's not my area expertise.
Right, okay.
But I mean, again, on, final design, where they want to calculate, how many times each house we're expecting them to have and calculate, how many gallons, and then do their calculations upon final. So that will all be done.
Perfect.
And all those perk tests are done on the north side of the road.
Yeah.
I gotta ask Gene something, man.
Okay.
Sure. Just
Like-
ask out loud.
While you're doing that, can I ask a question? If there's any need for them to indicate what they're going to do with that, the sewage collection system once the town is going to require them to hook up to any kind of town sewer system.
I think
Would
that
it-
what we would do is recommend that in any approval that once the sewer is available and it's in the area that
Mhm.
would that they require.
The way that this ties in with the two side streets and the slopes going down, it would be super easy to
Super easy.
switch those over to the public line if it came down Pocketville Road.
So all I'm saying is just in the writing,
Yeah.
just an indication that that would happen and how you would do that. So just for final plat, I think that would be important.
Okay.
It's not absolutely mandatory because
I mean,
we
from
don't
our,
know when that system will come in.
and that's
this
from,
is efficient.
yeah, from an HOA's perspective, I mean, we would tie into the public system. It makes way more sense than
Yes.
maintaining, an aging septic system. So
Yes.
yeah,
So
that's
in
fine.
writing what you're going to do and how you're going to deal with that at that point, because then you're just dealing with a piece of land.
Right. Yeah. On final, we can put in, once public utilities are available, that we would connect at both those.
And then
points.
reassess the needs of the lot owners. Yeah,
Perfect.
that sounds great.
So I have a question about your soil exploration pit analysis. Number B2139B. The notes say refusal due to caliche. What is that? What does that mean?
Caliche.
So it says refusal due to that. What does that mean?
All four of them say it. I'm not sure exactly what it means.
So it's basically what type of septic system they would have to design, right? So they're going to go back and design a system that works in those soils. There's a lot of different types of systems.
So it's
Like,
workable
the RV park had to do an evaporative system because. the
because
water
of this.
table-
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, just different, there's different circumstances in different areas that they have to do different systems.
Caliche, that's more of a
So-
clay.
Refusal,
you have
just,
to
it's more of a
adjust to
water
that.
term than a,
So I think the refusal is that they cannot do a standard traditional septic system.
Okay.
So when they do
So
their
you're gonna
septic
come back with
design,
whatever design, okay.
and that's what happens next. They design the full system based upon, how many bathrooms we think we're gonna have in each, unit and, the flows, and they'll come back and say, this system will work here. And then, that's what their job is.
Okay. That sounds expensive.
It does. Anything else? I don't have any. Okay, thank you guys.
With this, I'd kind of like to see the council look at this when they're putting this in and see if there's a budget with the city to increase that sewer pipe size. It's to maybe accommodate development up on the hill. Mm-hmm. That the city would help pay for the additional costs to upgrade that to maybe a larger pipe if it was indicated.
It wouldn't work until there was public utility, because our system is only going to be designed
Yeah, you
to
can't make
collect,
them-
the 12 lots. So we wouldn't have capacity at the system, even if those wanted to get developed up above, until the public utilities are there.
Correct, but I'm saying it would be better for the residents if the city has the money now to just increase that pipe size
Yeah.
only for when the sewer is actually there.
Yeah, and you're talking basically lot 12 and 11, that lateral that's going to go
Yes.
up that street. So
That's it.
it's minimal.
Correct. That's why I'm saying that to Gene. Maybe that.
The standard is with any business or subdivision that when sewer is available, the subdivision or whatever has to upgrade to the standard of the town and connect at their own expense. So that should be written in as part of the subdivision rules. I mean, they can't, they either build it to standard now, but they will be required for the town standard, or they'll have to upgrade it to that and connect in the sewer at their own expense. All systems like this will be eliminated when sewer is available. They have to upgrade it.
So when? Do we have a
Okay.
when?
So what?
Oh, there's always a when.
Is if in this.
No, I just
case,
think that's good.
If Mr. Christensen, before you start the actual building, make sure that you're in compliance with the town standards on the size of the sewer lines. Then the only cost you have would be eliminating the use of the. Right, okay.
I see. I didn't realize it was that way with subdivisions.
Also,
Did you guys get your water studies? Have a water study back or something?
No.
You guys are just wishful thinking?
That's the requirement.
So-
We were kind of handed by the body politic on any of these that go in, that they have to change over to that. when the sewer's available. The question would be though, I don't know, I'll have to talk about. that.
See, 'cause-
Because the problem is, those systems fail. And so probably the way they'll be written for subdivisions is when they fail, instead of when it's
Yeah.
when they fail and sewer's available, they're not to hook up. But if their system isn't up to the town standard, they'll have to upgrade their system.
I like that you guys are looking ahead on
But-
this particular item. However,
But-
I think
But this,
subdivisions have to do it once it fails. If none of this is written down yet, it's something.
okay, I'll talk about you with it. I'll just talk with you offline about that. Because I do have a couple other questions,
It
but
would be wise for all of them to have town standards in their sewer.
all right. Any other conversations about this subdivision? Are you worried someone's gonna break something while you're here?
no.
Okay, I would be. Yeah,
I make a motion that we approve the preliminary plat. for the Wyatt subdivision.
recommend.
Recommend approval is what I meant to say.
Right, you're right.
Wyatt's made a motion to recommend approval of the preliminary plat for Zion Landing subdivision. Do Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, we'll vote. Bronwyn?
Yes.
Wyatt? Cameron, yes.
Yes.
Angelia? Yes. Sean?
Yes.
All yeses. All right. Letter I, discussion and recommendation to approve or deny subdivision final plat, Zion's Edge subdivision from John Staples. Okay, so we have some public comments to address, both publicly and those from the letter.
Yes.
John, did you guys do a traffic study with Quail Mesa?
Yes.
That's
Yeah, there is a traffic study. It's in there,
That's it, is it in this one?
if you can understand it.
Virgin Quail Mesa?
We did, yep. Fire at will.
Hey, Gene, was that traffic study, was that traffic study also submitted to UDOT? Do you know?
No.
Do you know if that
It
traffic
should
study
be.
went to UDOT?
I am unaware. We joint ventured that with Jeff
Jeff.
Lee, and he did the process and we paid our portion.
My discussion with DOT, they've said that they won't make any changes on the road there unless the town is going to pay for it. But just asking, and there's been some, I think we're making some ground with the DOT to have the KOA have a second entrance up on the east end
We need that.
to help alleviate that heavier traffic. It's not gonna stop the fact that you can't make a left-hand turn, but it would put them out on that upper end.
Is, was DOT made aware of these subdivisions going in?
They're aware of everything that's going on. They won't do a lot, they said they'd be open to a traffic circle.
Yes.
Come over in.
See, Cameron? I'm telling you.
That's great.
I'm gonna go through it backwards every time I get
So
to it.
let's find some money. Safety is important.
Okay.
That's all.
He's
So-
standing here.
We have a traffic study here. I don't know how to read it. I don't know what it means. I guess my question would be whether that, because at some point we'll have to upgrade that intersection. And generally, it's the entity that pushes it over whatever number that is that's required to help or pay for that improvement. So I can't imagine a 10 lot subdivision would push it over that.
That's what the report says from my understanding, for all of those, is that there's not enough traffic on it to increase the sizes of the street.
What,
Where there's already a crash lane on DOT, they're not gonna push for anything beyond what's there. And honestly, it's a bad deal, I get it, but I don't know how you're gonna have traffic. That's all there's to it. The question is, if the town could put in some sort of a roundabout or something in the future, I already said, with what we currently have, there's no way to do it.
Well, light's probably not the best solution there anyway.
That's just conversations I've had with them, but they're open to doing something else. They're gonna have to be funding and everything else with it. As far as the size of the street and the amount of traffic coming out of all three subdivisions, it does not warrant expansion of the street or the turn lanes or anything.
But do they know it's? gonna
The
be-
subdivisions and the hotel that's currently there,
Well, and the fact that it's a rental.
and the KOA. So
They haven't, no way.
they've looked at all of those together.
I don't think so. The DOT doesn't deal with any of that. They're saying you have the crash lane, acceleration light, that's all you need. They're not even, they don't even care who to. Individual subdivisions and the KOA have had individual settings. There's not been one conglomerate. That's something the town would have to determine whether it need to be expanded or what. But we could have Carl do that and it cost, I'm sure. It's probably a good idea.
Well,
Here,
you know, if the KOA pushes
Your
it
legs
over the
tired.
edge, then the KOA has to help pay for it.
KOA had all this stuff.
In first, okay.
That's the
Yeah.
problem. I mean, it should be the last guys.
Okay.
Cameron, are you seeing him stand?
I don't see the traffic study in here.
It's kind of hard to find. It says Virgin Quail Mesa.
Yeah,
But
I think you better just jump in there.
Why, did you see anything in there?
yeah, Virgin Quail Mesa TIS.
TIS. It's about halfway down.
Cameron, do you want him to make his comment?
I think he's just waiting to see if you have any questions.
Are you?
Yeah, yeah.
Standing proud.
Oh, look at that, he's just so open.
Even if you send to your emails, the responsible stuff.
Okay,
For this.
thank you.
For this subdivision? Okay. We'll review that in a minute. Is there a conclusion section on this traffic study?
Do you want to check out the email too?
There's a summary.
It's a summary.
Okay. All right, so that's good to know that the KOA is looking at a second access as well.
That's been requested.
So can I ask a question, Kevin?
Yeah.
I want to know what you think about the traffic thing.
I'm not a professional when it comes to that. We're excited to pay for it to get done, especially not just that crash, but things that have happened over the years. I'm supposed to say my name, Jeff Staples. And so when we paid it, it was with a non-biased firm that is DOT approved. And they said it would handle well more than the capacity that it proposed with our subdivision and Quail Mesa.
Okay.
And on top of it, and there are a couple things that I'll sprout out in light of some of the objections from citizens, just so they hopefully can feel that we're going the extra mile. On top of paying for this traffic study, my dad is contributing, I think, 20 or 25% of the town's bill for their overall traffic study with UDOT as a contribution to hopefully making things better for the entire community.
Thank you.
Has there been any discussion on, because your place is right after the bridge, has there been any talk about changing the way that intersection is kind of laid out? It's almost not an intersection right now.
Just that immediate right turn.
Yeah.
There has been talk of, and we don't actually own the piece that adjoins the corner right there. It's a
Oh,
little
okay.
sliver.
Who owns that?
Mr. Ferber. And there's been talk of lowering that to some degree, But changing the roads, no, and I would assume that this because the road on the left-hand side is not an actual road, it's access just for the cell phone tower. So right now it's be considered a one directional well, not a one directional, but no other turning lane.
Is this phasing? So we still need that.
What's the engineer, what's the?
On this traffic study, it talks about that turn lane may be required by DOT, but those turn lanes are already there. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, the problem is that the traffic study with the DOT is only dealing with the DOT.
Mhm.
Doesn't care about the apron that we have on K Street. I think it would be worthwhile for you guys to make a recommendation to council that we do a study on that entire street to see if it needs to be widened and turn lanes put in. It's kind of going to be for your recommendation, I'm sure, for all this subcommittee.
I think we'd be super irresponsible.
So this
not
one
to-
says, based on DOT and its state's regulation, a northbound to eastbound right turn acceleration lane may be required at Camino del Rio and SR9. It appears that this warrants this existing background volume. But that lane's already there. The north and south. Okay. Okay. John, I don't know if that satisfied all of your stuff, but
So
I
again,
hope it's clear that we are looking at those things.
can make a comment. This one, of course, is not just their subdivision. It included
It's both
the other ones.
subdivisions.
So even at that, it's only talking about at the highest 55%. So they got quite a ways before we come into a real traffic problem. With the KOA, that might completely change this. But at this point, this study is even projecting it at the most 55. It's down to 45 in most of it % of traffic coming through there. So
Yes.
I think we should make sure that DOT's looked at what the traffic will be based on what the use here too, because there's no way there's going to be less traffic with these being, vacation rentals. That's going to be more than just
Well-
that many residential lots.
why?
So typically vacation rental properties have less traffic and they have, no, this is yearly, less traffic and less water usage.
Well,
than-
yearly, that's silly here. That means by half the year, there's going to be tons and.
That means there's certain months of the year, yes, that there will be an
Well,
increase.
and
but-
we're only worried about the months where it's busy, right? Like
Peak.
that's where people are going to die.
Peak out.
DOT is aware of the uses. That's the whole thing. They look at the use and determine is this.
Well, wait, we just said we weren't sure they knew all that.
You know,
No, they, yeah,
Okay.
but again, their only interest is.
There, yeah, right. Well, so, yeah, and our responsibility is to make sure it's safe for the people who live here.
okay. Is there any further discussion on the traffic?
No, well, other than, so we're going to look at this a little bit more and come up with some solutions. And I think it needs to be a discussion point. I don't know that it needs to, seems like they're fulfilling their obligation, but just.
Oh, the town, you're saying that
I'm
you
just,
agree with,
I'm just footnoting this, yes.
you're saying you agree with Gene's proposal that we have the city look at doing
Yes, I
a
think that's
complete
important.
traffic study of all.
Yeah, I do. I think it's important.
Okay.
Well, I
Thanks.
think it's great that all these subdivisions came at this point, right before we're doing a major traffic plan with UDOT. So this has been
No.
very helpful. We haven't had to pay for this. So thanks.
I was trying to save a buck, aren't you, Sean? No, it's good.
$486 weekly daily trips.
Are your legs tired yet?
All right, the other part that was, one of the comments, in the letter was multifamily rentals. Is there any multifamily units proposed for your subdivision?
No, it's all single family residence. You know, can I guess if two families wanted to split one home to go to Zion together, it's still gonna remain one home, and I
Yeah, they're
probably
just-
can't dictate how that works, but none of them are proposed to be duplexes.
Okay, would your CCNRs allow for duplexes?
No, they don't.
We can't even have them in the town, as far as I'm aware.
I think they're just suggesting the families doubling up, so there'd be lots. of
Yeah,
people. They're
I
not-
see, I understand. I'm slow, but I'll get
But-
there eventually.
You guys aren't even saying that you're gonna put vacation rentals in, you're just,
Overlay and.
Yeah, on your
and
overlay.
At this point, it could be sold
Like an
as,
option.
at this point, I think the whole thing will be sold, and so no construction drawings or plans or anything have been drawn up for that, and also as far as I'm aware, and you are better educated than me, the town doesn't allow duplexes at this time,
That's right. It was just,
and our sewer wouldn't permit it, our septic, I mean.
well, so a lot of the comments bring up, I mean, you can't, they've already started their process, so there's nothing we can do about, what the ordinances allow now. So a lot of this debate, so there's nothing we can do about what the ordinances allow now. So a lot of these comments in this debate is not really relevant to them because we, hurry and try to change an ordinance or adjust our ordinance. They've already started their process. So what we have now is what applies. But I think I think that as a committee, we need to look really carefully at these comments for what we do in the future and what we come up with as far as rentals go and all of the concerns that people have. I don't think we can ignore them. So two separate issues here, but I just urge us all to be really mindful of these people's comments because I'm hearing it. It's important that the people that live here want to stay here and that our community is really rooted, grounded with long-term citizens. And I just really don't ignore what the people's concerns, because I think they're valid. I think a lot of the concerns about the rentals and the traffic and the quality of life are valid, but they don't apply to you because you guys already started your process and we don't do that.
Well, I do want to make comment to that, though, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
In listening to Mrs. Bills and Mr. Watson, and I do consider myself a friend of John Watson's wife. I don't know Mrs. Bills. It is our understanding, figures in the town, and then studying other subdivisions, that just in the preliminary plat, we've done more than any other subdivision has. And that's not just stopping with how we mapped out our subdivision. My family has their property, and it is important to us that if we're going to make someone's neighbor, that it's in the best way possible. So we do have on having the HOA completely structured and approved by him prior to any building permit being pulled.
I just read that. That was very generous.
The other thing is that, and I think it's wise that the town makes it so that only one management company manages the subdivision, so that there's not 10 different contact points that aren't aware of what's happening at each home. And our goal, and this is a goal, I'm not promising this on record, but our goal is to, along with the management company, have someone in town limits that is assigned a manager to it to be quick to response on anything. Also, the other thing is that I would encourage anyone with questions, I would have questions if they were going to be either my neighbor or half a block down, to read the CCNRs and what are set in place. They're pretty stringent. And I think with having the nightly aspect of management taking place, the likelihood of control how late at night something's going on and the volume of something is going to be better controlled here than it will be in
I agree.
the
With,
neighborhood
like,
next
what
to
I,
it.
what I've seen, yeah,
So-
I don't know about the neighborhood, we won't go there, but I think the lot size, the efforts you guys have gone to as far as design go, and a lot of things, I mean, you've gone over and above as far as being considerate, of your neighbors. I see that.
And it's our goal to not have, him come to a town council meeting living here or go to
Well, you live-
Sunday service and have somebody give him the bird. So
Right,
we
right,
want to
right.
keep it
No, and-
awesome.
No,
I
I think everybody appreciates that. Yeah.
got a quick comment. Thank you for indicating that your CCNRs are so stringent that it's going to be a really nice subdivision.
It is.
Crazy enough, I actually read through almost all your CCNRs. And
That makes
boy,
about
they
two
are
people.
completely boring. Yes. But I'm so glad I don't live in
Yeah.
a subdivision like this because you guys have so much regulation. The house size itself, I was surprised at how limited that is. It's like 3,100 square feet or something. And so you're not looking at these 10,000 square foot houses being built on these and having, 60 people in these places. So I've seen other subdivisions put together like this in other cities, Santa Clara being one of them. They expected this short-term subdivision to just be basically overrun because that's where they put them all. And they were allowing that. Less than 20% are still short-term rental in, I think it's 50, 60 home subdivision. It will fluctuate according to the needs. And I believe even this will be a good buffer between what is commercial and hotel and transient to what is permanent residential. So I think you guys have done a good job to actually become that buffer and done a good job in your CCNRs covering that very well. So
Thank
good
you.
job.
Another thing, just as a point to throw out along with that, my mother owns a home in the reserve at Sand Hollow, and it was initially overlaid short-term rental. After it was built out, the residents there become the dictating force of the CCNRs, obviously not the code, and they voted the STR out.
Yeah,
Um,
that happens
it's gone.
sometimes in nicer neighborhoods. That's true. Yeah.
Yep. Sure.
Not on microphone, but I'm John Staples. One thing that
You talking on my-
yes. Yes. John Staples. I live in a little teeny subdivision just outside of the Virgin city limits, and I have a short-term rental going in next to my house. And instead of right off the bat raising Cain, I made a deal with them. If there's going to be short-term rentals, that's awesome, but we need to have communication between the two of us. And the next thing I'd like to say is, I don't know if everyone understands from a developer's point of view that Virgin is going to explode because Rockville isn't doing building permits, and we all know about Springdale. And Virgin is the last frontier. And with the price of the ground in Virgin, you have two choices as a developer. And I'm telling you, I know this. You can either do a whole bunch of low-income housing or low-price starter homes and lump them together on the ground to make it financially feasible, or make it so that short-term rental is a possibility because people will pay more for short-term rental ground than they will regular. So unfortunately, I believe that Virgin is in for a huge learning curve. And the reason I say that is because I know other developments that are coming in, especially the huge one at the top of the hill as you come out of Laverkin. And so my belief is, if I was living where John lives, but I would just to make sure that it's done correctly. If our town is going to grow, let's just make sure it's done correctly. And that's why I offered to pay a big portion of the traffic study that the town needs to do. Not because I want anyone to pat me on the back, but because I want things done right. And I don't want to see another accident like that out there. I don't. No one does. And so I just think we all need to be on our toes and make sure that it is 100% correctly, and that we look at other cities to deal with this and follow what has to be effective. And that takes some study and a lot of digging can be done. I mean, we can look at what's happened in St. George and in Washington, and we can learn from those and make it better.
Yes.
But I promise you that with the price of land going in, there will be developers come in here with big attorneys with lots of money, and they will ram it down our throats, or we get prepared for it.
Yes.
And we do it correctly in place, ordinances in place.
Amen.
To make sure it's done correctly.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Yes.
Um,
Sorry.
Along with that, I agree. The focus we need to have is planning for what we can do to mitigate any other issues. So not in the zoning aspect, but in the ordinance aspect. We need to work on, lighting, on noise, on traffic. Those are the things we can plan for. But as far as zoning and stuff, we've got what we got, and
No, Sean.
we're going to have another discussion about that
We'll talk about it
later. But for this, I think they've done a very good job
They have.
planning this, mitigating most of those concerns that are from this. As a final, I think there was some stuff about the wash from the engineer.
Yeah, I saw a note from the town engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can address that. So again, this is not to do a pat on our back, but hopefully it resonates for somebody. The notes that Mr. Rasmussen submitted after giving us written approval or that he was going to recommend approval was to fix part of the drainage that is actually not on our property. And we are doing that. And that's probably going to be to the tune of close to $20,000. And the thing about that is that if while we're excavating and we can help, particularly, it just so happens that the main home that's affected would be the mayor's, and then that roadway there, then we are doing it. So those were his notes, again, that were given after he approved our plan with our engineer. We met with Mr. Lee today because he owns the land that it's actually on. And so we will be doing those two diversions that Carl proposed. I also read one of the letters from someone. The wash is to add to Cornelius Wash, the drainage. These are things that we've paid tens of thousands of dollars in engineers to check the feasibility on. It's not us shooting from the hip. So we're not just adding to the wash in good hopes that it doesn't wash out one of these lots and homes that we're going to build and be liable for.
Was there any recommendations about what you would be doing in that wash? Is it just going to be natural wash? Is it going to be rip wrapped? Is it what?
So on lot number
10,
where the access easement is, at the top left corner, we'll just look at the map, directional, not going to be that quick. That's where the drainage is, right in front of the mayor's home. It has two pipes in there. One does a phenomenal job, the other is not functioning at all. The one that does do a good job is higher up. Before it hits that height, down at the bottom left corner of lot 10, we'll run a pipe into Cornelius Wash. There's also off of Quail Mesa, one culvert already just spills right in and adds to that. That's in front of the mayor's home. That will be piped into that same pipe that goes all the way to Cornelius Wash instead of contributing to that.
Nice.
It's really simple.
It looks like the engineering also includes a dam. That's
a swell. Yeah.
A diversion dam of significant size will need to be installed on any of the two proposed divergent.
Yeah, that's at the drainage at the top. Yes. I don't think you can actually call it a dam without getting some federal
That's what he
permits,
calls
but just saying.
All right. Okay.
How do you spell it, Cameron?
What's that? The only thing I saw missing from your CCNRs was the management company for any short-term rentals.
Yeah, so I'll be honest. I could give you a name right now to suffice it for the town. The truth is, this subdivision is probably not going to see a home built for about 3 years. And with us staking our name on it, I'd like to vet companies before I say this is. And I do this professionally. I have a licensure to do the management. Am I going to do it? No. But having family that owns Nightly Rentals, there's some management companies that are fantastic, and there's some that are the cheap ones that are never going to show up for problems. And to my knowledge, there's not very many currently functioning up here that I would use. So if you'd like, I can give you a name right now, Red Rock Property Management, but it probably won't be who we go on there.
I don't see why that's even relevant right now. Yet, I mean, name-wise, is that right, Cameron? Like, we don't need to know.
We
that.
would need to add,
What? Why would we need that to the very end?
the overlay ordinance requires that a management company be in charge.
Yes.
Yes.
We
And
would need to add language to the CCNRs indicating that one would be selected before constructions of homes started.
pretty
So
sure
it-
that's in there.
It does say
It
that
does say that.
one has to be chosen
Yeah.
beforehand. And again, in writing with Heath, we cannot pull a permit until that HOA.
Did you get Heath's letter, Cameron?
I did. He did not mention anything about management company in the letter.
No, just the context.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments, discussion items on this one?
No?
All right. For those that express concerns about short-term rentals, everyone understands your feelings, even if they may not agree personally. The decision was made in Virgin Town years ago that short-term rentals would be allowed in new subdivisions. The counter to that was that short-term rentals would not be allowed in existing subdivisions or the old part of town. And that's currently where we sit right now. I do not see language in the ordinance that would even allow the town to deny
No,
a short.
that's the case.
I'm just stating that for people that don't want it.
Yeah, we don't have any way to, our ordinances don't allow for us to eliminate that from this, and there's no reason to try.
So with that being said, if there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion to include the stuff that Heath sent. And if you guys have that, you can look and make sure I don't miss anything. But I make a motion to recommend approval of the final plat for Zion Edge subdivision Staples located at V2148A1 east of Rio de Zion. Following conditions. Completed and approved HOA language signed by the town attorney. Bonded public improvements at 125% estimated cost. Mylar form prepared for the subdivision. Drawings signed by utilities, town engineer, Hurricane Valley Fire, and town attorney. Engineering estimates prepared by the subdivision's engineer and signed off by the town engineer. And that's the motion.
I'll second.
Karen made the motion, Wyatt seconded the motion. Any further discussion? We'll vote. Bronwyn?
Yes.
Wyatt? Cameron, yes. Angelia? The vote was unanimous. Okay, where are we on this list? You know what I hate about taking all these votes? Is that just means I have to write more stuff up at the end of this meeting.
That's why you're in charge.
All right, we'll move on to J. Discussion and recommendation to approve or deny amended section of Vulu Casita, removing sizing restrictions for attached casita. Okay. I'm gonna hit the comment real quick. Okay, so yes, the answer to your question is yes, cities can be more restrictive than state law. The difference is when you read the state law as referenced in this section, if you pull that up, this state law specifically states what a town can and can't regulate. So set a standard, rather it states to the cities what standards they can and cannot set, and what portions of an internal accessory dwelling unit specifically. All right, so the background to this law is my understanding. Larger cities where there's substantial problems with housing than here. Those big cities were banning these type of internal accessory dwelling units. And so the state, in an effort to create more housing, submitted this law. Yeah, and said, look, here's what you can and can't do to regulate these things.
So are you saying they specifically, because from the language, I couldn't, it sounded like you don't have a choice, is what it sounded like. We can't make them, we can't say, because the ridiculous part of this actually is just the size. You can the non-casita as big as you want, and you could, that's kind of crazy, but I did.
That's true, but it has to be attached. Right.
In E, it says,
No, I get it. That doesn't make it any less ridiculous.
Okay. That's fine. What was that, Wyatt?
No.
All right. I know we've gone over this before, but
Yeah,
I want to make
it's
sure
accurate,
if there's
yeah.
any
There's-
additional.
So I'm asking you the question. It's your understanding that we have to word it this way.
Not the entirety. It's my understanding that we have to allow internal accessory dwelling units.
Without a size limit. That's the part. the without
Correct. We cannot restrict
the
those
size. That's what I read too, that we can't.
based on the size of the structure.
Right. That's what I
Right.
read.
So we can restrict them by restricting. So if we had an ordinance that restricted the overall size of a
No, I
structure.
get, yeah. So, but you can make everything except the closet. An
Yes.
internal.
Well, you have to,
dwelling.
yeah, you have to have a primary.
Well, I can live in the closet and my renter can live in the rest of the house. And that's ridiculous, but it is what it says.
Okay. I'm gonna accept the dramatization without comment.
It's kind of true though.
Nice way of putting that.
But there's other parts to this, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of there's addition of dimensions. You can look at there's multiple chapters that were changed because of this.
Mhm. Mostly, I do like the idea that you're taking casita and making it ADU, even though they are two separate terms and two separate uses. One can be the other, but the other can't be
The one.
one.
Yeah.
So it's good that we're just taking the broad term of ADU and making everything fit under that, even though casita could be a separate one on its own.
Look at you,
I think
Sean.
Cameron-
Look at you. You turned over a new leaf. I am so proud of you. Sorry, it's getting late.
On that, I agree. Cameron did a great job
He did do it.
finding most of the casitas in our ordinances. I did find one. I'll point that out here in a minute. And then there's a couple of things in this specific one, ordinance that you have written, a few things I want to question on, but the being able to get this accomplished, I think is good. We've already discussed a lot of it before, so I think we might be able to get this through tonight. On F number 2, it says a casita AD standards shall apply to all casitas, and that's changed right there. Go down to the redlined one,
Okay.
if you could, Crystal. So
You're in F?
It's enough.
yeah, it's the third line down. It still says all casitas, just need to change that to ADU. So for some reason, it didn't pick that one up for you. Line
F3.
number 2,
Oh,
following standard shall apply to all, and it says casitas. In the thing.
Why would-
yeah, you gotta change it because I'm not seeing it. So,
Look right behind you. So there's F, and then there's 1, and there's 2, line 2, or number 2.
oh, I was looking at F.
Oh, sorry.
It is F, but it's like two.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Sorry, the capital F section. Okay. See that, so we make sure we change all. And then I had a question on number 1. ADUs are not intended to be designed or used as independent family dwellings. I
don't
thought we
understand.
had taken family out of most of those and just had dwelling unit. So that's something we don't have to change today, but it's something we, because I thought we had taken everything else out that said family dwelling unit and changed it to dwelling unit. In the definitions, we did that. We did it in almost all the other ordinances. I don't know why this one escaped.
Well, it should
Just-
just be made consistent.
So we need to do that and then make sure that that statement actually meets the definition of dwelling unit. So that's why we need to address that at another time. It's not consistent with that definition.
But we don't have it, so I got you.
Right. So just a footnote on, and we'll come back to that one another date. Okay. On A, B, C, D, E, talking about attached. The interesting thing about attached is that it becomes bigger than the footprint of the existing dwelling, but it is become part of the dwelling. So are we allowing attached, meaning an addition to a primary dwelling? Is
That's
that
not
what
the
we're
same
talking
thing. It
about?
shouldn't be. That's why attached is crossed out, right?
Attached is crossed out.
Yeah. So that's not.
Um,
No, we don't want to do that.
It says an internal accessory dwelling unit, IADU. If the ADU is within the footprint of the primary dwelling unit to a garage, the following
Okay.
requirements.
This is why we don't even need E, is because if it's within, we're not talking attached, we're talking about with footprint, it's already been built, and therefore you don't need design standards on that applied to it. Must be of a compatible architecture,
Are you
including
sure?
siding and roofing. It's already in the house. We're not saying attached. We're not making a new part of the building.
No, but isn't there still some sort of standards that have to be used in any construction? Like, I don't know what he's saying.
Okay, so let me explain
It's
it
okay,
one more
it's okay,
time.
It's okay. It's okay.
If we have a house and there's an internal dwelling
And I got
unit,
that. I got that part. I got that part. I just know that there's probably some things you can't do and people can't live in some things. Like if you just put a couple sticks up and I don't know what, but I don't know if that applies or not. I just know it may.
what I'm saying is E doesn't apply. We need to take it out. All of E.
Yeah,
Let
I
me
see what he's
see.
saying,
I know.
because
I'm missing it.
Please explain it.
So
I get it. If that's true, I get it. Just go back to it so I can see. Palmer didn't take it out, so. We worked hard on this game.
I know, you took the attached out. If you left the attached in, then we can leave the design standard. If we take the attached out, we have to take the whole thing out. So we either one or the other. We need to leave the attached in, we need
Are you
to
talking about E?
E,
Internal?
all of E.
If is. Understand why you would take that out.
because if it's not attached, the standards don't apply because it's already inside of the house.
So,
If I do it in my basement, I don't need to worry about the siding. It's already in the house.
yeah,
If I make an attachment,
but if you're, okay, let's say you've got a basement, like an empty basement. You're gonna make it one of these internal dwellings, and you're gonna put walls and electrical and everything else in it, you gotta have it, that still needs to fit building standards, right? Or is that not what that's talking about?
Yeah, it's will have meet building standards.
This is just.
What Sean is saying is that
style.
it's one building. Sean's saying it's one building. So it will be of the same style because it's only
Because
one
it's
building.
inside, and this is only addressing cosmetics from the outside.
yes.
Yes,
Okay,
that's
so
what
take it
So-
out.
Sean's saying.
Either we leave the attached,
Just,
or we
no,
take
you
the whole thing
can't leave
out.
the word attached because of what this is. So that means it
Okay.
100% has to go.
What do you think, Cameron? Sorry.
I think that if you,
But it doesn't hurt anything to leave it.
I
in
think
right
that it would be but it does need two words changed.
Okay.
Where it would read internal accessory dwelling unit. If the ADU is within the footprint of the primary dwelling unit or within the garage, the following requirements must be
now.
met.
Yes, I agree with that.
And then you, that way you can keep the within the garage.
Yeah, that's right. No, I agree with that.
So then number one just becomes obsolete then, right?
Then we just get,
No, you guys, it's just let him, what he said is perfect. It clarifies in a good way.
I think you would still leave number one because the garage could be detached.
then it's a detached, and it goes under the following requirements.
It's like, someone could do something crazy too to that, a certain part of the house. I think it's good, just leave it in. Let's cut this up, make a weird skylight. I don't know. Let's just leave it. I think it's protect, it's good. Just leave it.
I don't want to dwell on it either.
Well on it, no pun intended.
Mhm.
Okay.
So do we make the changes?
Sorry. Oh, so I was trying to get pushy. I'm sorry.
We'll come back and change it next time. I don't care. It needs to be changed, but we just won't change it tonight.
Well, he's gonna put those words in, right?
Just did.
He's going to put those couple of words and then leave the rest, but.
Yeah, because we're gonna check on the
Okay,
footnote.
what-
I got
Now,
that.
if this had been left as just casita and we had rewritten a whole ADU one, then can you see the difference? They'd be completely
You're
different
meandering.
ordinances. Okay. Under point out is the small one must not exceed the height of the primary structure. This is conflicts with the current ordinance we have that says that no accessory building should be higher than 20 feet.
It's not accessible. It's in.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
No, this one is
external. Oh,
external.
Yeah. It's not exceed the height of
This
the-
is
that's
external.
right.
We're already
I
on
got
that.
you. You're right.
Okay. We either change it here or change our other one. Changing the other one,
Why don't we
just to
change
make
it here?
accessory buildings at 25 feet, no higher than our standard.
Well, no, because that means if it's an accessory dwelling, they can't make, just because they're gonna rent it out, they can't make it higher than another accessory dwelling. This one needs to go to the lower standard, so 20 feet. Right? Yeah,
I think, what if we just put, must not exceed the height of the structure or 20 feet, whichever is lower.
because it's so this is existing.
Until we go back and change the other one to 25, and then we'll just change this to 25.
What are you talking about? It says 20, we're changing it to 20. Wait, so does that mean they can build one that's higher? So these kind of units would be the only accessory dwellings that could be 25 feet?
No, no, you
Sean's
just heard it.
confused.
Sean,
You just, he just said 20 feet.
I know.
That's why I'm saying we have to put it in
Add the
here.
language that says or 20 feet,
'Cause-
whichever is lower.
Lower. That's my thinking.
Because, yeah. Okay. Thank you for fixing that.
Yes.
On number 4. Is it 4 or the next page?
The small 4 or the 4 period?
4 dot.
We're not.
Not 4 in parentheses. 4 dot. So this was a requirement of CASITA for inspection. Is this still something we need to have as ADU?
Yes, because it would apply to, at the very least, external accessory dwelling units.
I think so. I think we need to be, I think so.
I don't remember anything that was
No,
restricted
about the
from us
internal.
or
I don't
not.
know about the internal.
No, this was not something that we were prohibited from restricting.
Okay, then that's fine. The only other thing, 2 more things. Your definitions, love the definitions, nice and short and to the point. The only thing I would address is in your internal accessory dwelling unit, IADU, a dwelling that is within, and you have a definition of accessory dwelling. We need to put an accessory dwelling. Dwelling or dwelling unit is a different definition than accessory dwelling. So we just need to add accessory and accessory dwelling that is within. Because you can have a dwelling inside a
We
dwelling,
got you, we are with you.
and that could be a bedroom, but it's not an accessory dwelling. Good. So in that one, external dwelling unit, put it in an accessory dwelling that is not within. And that's it. I don't have any more. Sorry.
No, well done. Let's go. Let's keep going. Go on.
Miss Clerk, boss lady, I made all in the top section. Can you cut and paste the top section over the bottom section so those,
Oh,
so the changes are made down there too?
Made it in the bottom section.
No, I made them.
The new one, the new.
So you just gotta take that, under proposed, take all that, just
And-
replace,
and
or
put-
else I can go through and type
and
them
put it
in,
in
but
the ordinance part of it.
in the ordinance
Yeah.
part of it.
Okay. Thanks for making those changes. Everyone's eyes are glazing over. Are you ready for a motion yet?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we recommend approval of, which one was it on the list here?
J.
J. Let's see this. Where is it?
It's right after I. Okay.
Oh, there's one that looks like a J. It's a L. Recommend approval of amending sections of VULU referring to casita and removing the restriction for attached casita. According to the changes that we recorded on the proposed ordinance.
I have a motion to recommend approval of item J, amending sections of VULU casita with proposed changes as documented on the work document. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sean made the motion, Angelia seconded the motion. We'll vote. Sean?
Yes.
Angelia?
Yes.
Cameron, yes. Bronwyn?
Yes.
Number K, definition changes.
These, the one that came from
Last month.
last month.
Cameron, may I just quickly do an overview, not a full overview, but just what's happened since the last time we met?
Okay.
Okay. I took all the suggestions that were requested at our last meeting. I took out all of the words that did not apply to any of the, I did that previously, that did not have any changes at all. These are only the words that have changes. That made this document quite considerably shorter because I was trying to make it easy for the clerk or somebody replacing this just to do a cut and paste. They will have to now go in and do each and every one separately. I think Gene's going to do it, isn't he? Anyway, those will each get changed. I also took out all of the definitions about lodging, and we will be discussing those later. So they would not be in conflict at this point. And then, of course, went L all the way through. And then anywhere where those definitions had regulations in them, I did put those into the body of and have indicated where those would go. And that's in this ordinance as well. So are there any questions? Taken 9 months to get here, so.
Approval of item number K, 12, definition changes L through Z, and other ordinances.
Second.
Cameron made the motion, Bronwyn seconded the motion. Any further discussion? We'll vote. Sean?
Yes.
Angelia?
Yes.
Cameron, yes. Wyatt? Bronwyn?
Yes. Did we? Yes.
Hallelujah.
Move on to item number L, or
You were
letter
gonna start
L.
singing.
Recommendation to approve changes to planning and zoning meeting dates. October 12th, October 13th, December 7th, move to December 12th. Any discussion?
December 12th is that a Monday?
Happy Monday.
Okay. Mondays are always good in December.
It'll be fun.
It'd be fun.
I'll entertain a discussion on it.
Make a motion that we approve item I, the meetings for October and December.
Have a motion to approve the date changes, October 12th to October 13th, December 7th to December 12th. Do I have a second? Bronwyn made the motion. Wyatt seconded the motion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? We already covered M.
Cruising.
Okay, now we're on the discussion items. We need to go back to the STR, chapter 60. We've already hit this pretty heavy this month, or, yeah, this month tonight.
Yes.
What will be left is for someone to go through and actually make edits.
Me. You're gonna do that and have it something for
Okay.
you?
Bronwyn's
Calling
gonna,
For help though.
Sure. Bronwyn's gonna make edits to this chapter 60, and have those prepared for next month for
Yeah.
discussion.
Yes, thank you.
So any other discussion on this item?
Are those edits only going to focus on,
I'll let you know.
Edits she makes, and
I'll
we
let
can
you know.
discuss
I
it
will-
then.
I will give you drafts as we go. We'll have plenty of, I'll be asking for input
All right.
from everybody but you.
you won't ask me for anybody.
Yes, I will.
You'll get
I'll
my
entertain a
input, you
motion
won't
to
ask.
table this item until next month.
I make a motion that we table the, discussion.
We don't have discussions, we don't have to do that.
No, this item was tabled until this month.
Yes.
So
This has to
I
be
would
tabled.
request that we table this and bring it back again, because this was actually written up as an ordinance.
Okay, whatever you say, you're.
I make a motion that we table the STR chapter 60 ordinance until next month.
As a discussion item or as,
Discussion item.
Yeah.
Why I said yes in the affirmative to that was a discussion item. I have the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Wyatt's made the motion, and the motion will vote. Bronwyn?
Yep.
Wyatt? Cameron, no. Angelia?
Yes.
Sean?
no.
Okay. So moved. It will be moved to next month.
Dang it. Oh. It's gotta be fun.
Discussion item, okay, so now we're on to E. This is 8.26 of Vulu. No, it's still in the public meeting.
Almost there.
You're confused because we always have to go back into the public hearings and reopen them.
Always.
We got ahead of it this time.
I've never seen that way we do that before.
Well, that's just
We're
because we
kinda
did a
special.
mistake. That's,
We're special.
okay, thanks, Bronwyn.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So Lulu 8.26, Lulu 8.3081 and lodging unit definitions.
That's where we're on right now.
Everything is June.
Oh,
They're in the emails that he sent us.
Yeah.
way back.
They-
Failed to send.
they didn't get to you? Oh, well, you want my
What?
copy? I'm gonna do it.
That's why they're not in the file, huh? Okay.
Here, I'll email you. I can email it to you.
Or if you had your handy dandy.
Oh, not that one. It's this.
This is, we just talked about this, didn't we?
Yes.
So
Maximum height.
8.26 is,
Oh, so that's why,
It's-
that's why Sean was being so.
It's here, yeah. It's
Chipper about
maximum height of accessory building
Yes.
is right there. The purpose for this was 1 story.
Okay, so the only
Yes.
thing he changed on that particular one.
He took out
was
1
All
story.
he did is just take out the stories. Nothing else needs to be done to that one, and it should be.
Yes. So,
So just
Good
those
timing,
2
Gene.
words have been changed. That's all that needs to be
no,
taken
because
out.
we're not going to engage in, this meeting will go too long. Any discussions on the 8.26, the changing of that to indicate that it's no change to the maximum height?
is there any purpose in keeping it at 25 or 20 feet instead of
Yes.
just having it at 20? Please give me an argument for why that would even be.
Because he wrote it. We're not gonna get into it tonight. Let's just leave it. The only thing that he
No, I
worked
underst-
very hard on these. The only thing
So-
we need to do is.
Bronwyn's argument is that she
I do whatever
prefers
Gene says.
keeping the Bronwyn prefers to keep the accessory building height to 20 feet so as to maintain what the status quo.
Thank you.
That's
We'll-
Bronwyn's argument.
Thank you. No, that's not my argument. We'll go. I like it though, for today. Won't like that one later.
So no more
Yes,
barns.
because I'm not-
Oh, wait, you can do those over 20 feet. So
I just think Gene was really, what he changed, there's only a few changes. Let's just look at his changes and.
okay, but if we bring this back next month, I was just asking if he ends up changing 25, are we going to consider it then, or do we want to consider it right now
He's not
and
gonna,
add and then go?
he's not gonna, don't worry. He's not gonna.
Something about height.
No.
Sean, Sean would like the height to be extended, the primary
Dwelling.
Would we like to bring this back with that change and accept public comment on that change, or would you like to keep it as is?
Status quo. Leave it as it is.
Angelia, we know Sean's opinion.
This is
So
just
right
what-
now, the minimum height for
An accessory,
So this is like
is
shed.
25.
This is
Yes.
like-
And this is asking that an accessory be shorter.
Like a
At 20
shed
foot.
or something, a shed or a garage. So we
Okay.
want that to be the same.
we got it.
Hey,
Got it.
if you don't listen along.
I'm trying to move this along. Yes, that's correct.
I personally don't see any reason why it would be an issue not to have it be the same height.
Okay, Angelia, feet. Wyatt,
Leave it.
You really want a 25-foot tool shed? Come on, man.
I say we bring it back at 25 feet. So
We're bringing it back.
I will make the motion that, these are just discussion items.
Yeah.
But I would ask that this item be placed on the agenda for public hearing, written as is, with the change of 20 being changed to 25. So that we can
You're
accept,
writing an ordinance?
this is already written. This is already written.
That's 25 feet?
No,
That's
this is
20.
written.
That's 20.
Yes, we're gonna bring it back for a public hearing next month.
So you're gonna write
With
it up as 25 and submit it, what you're saying? 'Cause you
That's
can't
what I'm
just switch
saying. No, this is not, this is only discussion item.
Discussion item, that's
this-
all.
You're
We're not making any votes
For
on this.
Public hearing, why are you bringing that up for public hearing? Unless you're rewriting the ordinance.
Action on tonight. Yeah, we're not having a public hearing.
Next time.
Yes.
Next time.
Why?
Because they want to change.
What,
But don't you have to,
It has to be on public hearing
Well-
anyways.
wait, isn't the process that you gotta bring us a new one, right?
That's why we're,
okay,
Just
Brown,
voted
I'm not
on.
gonna bring you a new ordinance that says 25 just to bring it back in another month.
I'm just talking about process and now I'm confused.
Uh,
I'm just very.
No, the process is we discuss the changes. We see an ordinance, we discuss the changes, and then we bring it for public hearing.
Okay.
I would like to see what the public has to say about accessory
Ju-
dwelling units at 25 feet. And if there's
I'm
a
fine. I
good
just thought-
argument, I'll go
That's
with it.
fine. What I thought this was in front of us was the changes made. So that's why I don't know why it turned into that, but it's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine.
these are recommendations submitted by Gene as the zoning administrator. That's correct.
So anytime anything comes up, if we want to just slide something else in, we just do it right then.
Yeah, if it's
Yes.
not a major change,
I just didn't know.
yeah. I mean,
Back up. I didn't know. It just seemed a little to me.
That's-
It's okay.
That's how the process works. Yes, we discuss it, we decide, then we put it in ordinance form, public hearing, then we discuss whether or not we want to recommend it.
no, if we brought this up, no, for example, if this came up and we said, okay, so what we want to do is we want to set height for this type of accessory building, and we want to set heights for this type of accessory dwelling unit, and we want to set a different height for this type of accessory dwelling, then we would bring it back for discussion again, because those are significant changes that we'd all want to see in writing before it went to public hearing. But I don't think that a change in height is, I mean, are you confused with what it will look like?
Whoa.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if the changes are going to confuse someone, then we should bring it back for discussion again. But if the changes aren't going to confuse anyone,
Anyways,
then we don't need to bring it back in. I'm not trying to be Houdini, or I'm not trying to be mean or anything else. Just,
It's okay. I know you're grumpy. It's okay. Let's just go on.
I'm always grumpy.
Wow.
Just
I
ask
think
my
the height
wife.
thing is an issue, so let's just.
Okay,
we're good.
yeah, I
We're
agree
good.
with you. The height thing is an issue, right? I think it's worth getting input on the 25 feet and having a discussion on that, but not tonight.
Okay, but what are we?
But
gonna
not
do?
tonight.
That's fine, but what are we gonna do about Gene's changes?
It's going to come back just the
gonna
same,
come
but
back. This is just discussion. We'll move on to 3.1. This is, they're here. This one is the, this one is just removing references to zones that no longer exist. Any questions on this one? No, so we'll bring this back next month for a public hearing.
be great. Gene, when you review that, all the stuff down below needs to all be changed for that. And there's no reference on 8.330 in that. So
Oh, you want the reference placed on there?
I can, yeah, the reference, and then also the rest of the ordinance itself is talking, it still has SOBs on there down below. So I'll get back with you on that, and I'll make sure he gets that put in there. It's the height and setback regulation. That you put it in an ordinance form in a template, but the template wasn't changed down below.
Oh, just because it said Mayor Matt, yeah. It just-
Oh, do you see what he's saying now?
Yeah.
Your cut and paste is bad.
Yes, that's all. I'll help you cut and
That's
paste.
where it comes in handy, right there. It's right there.
Oh, so it still has SOB stuff down in the ordinance.
Yeah.
Yep.
Number 3, lodging unit definitions.
I think they're ready.
Okay, so if you look at this, what he has done is he started out with a base of short-term rentals. The highlighted portion is the difference or the way to differentiate that particular lodging unit from a short-term rental.
Yeah, I think it made it clear, much more clear. I think it's good.
Okay. My only suggestion on this, is, and there's just one,
You're ready.
we take boarding house, lodging house, and bunk house. We just define those as all the same thing.
Well, bunkhouse is for it's like, that's for ag. That's a whole separate, you can't have that. I can't even have a bunkhouse
Okay.
unless it's ag, so I don't know about the other two, but I know you need that one for ag. I think it's not bad to have the differentiation myself.
Okay.
Where are we finding this one?
This will be in from Gene, your personal email.
Yep, okay. That's right.
What's the date?
I remember you sent me an email.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
want
think
a
we take,
copy?
I think we
you
just
need a
take
copy,
public
Wyatt?
comment on it.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Because I got it online.
Does he, you can have mine.
There is a
Sean, he can have
in
mine.
here, so, in one of the definitions.
I don't know what you just handed out, Sean.
Okay, just for reference, these are what the current definitions are, and then the supposed changes that I would have made if we had just passed these as is. And then what
James, yeah.
And then what Gene has,
Email this.
and I just looking at trying to make them compatible, but yet we need to accommodate the stuff that Gene has because we need to differentiate a little bit better between.
You don't think it's adequate what Gene did? Because I thought
So-
it was good.
So I think it's good. The only issue I do have is the reason I was redoing definitions was to make sure that we didn't have anything that resembled a requirement or a regulation in our definitions. The word,
You can have it back.
The word requires is that.
the
we-
word requires is in there quite
So let's just
often.
take that out because it can say motel, lodging of the.
And so-
bunkhouse.
So there's two ways to do it. We kind of redo the definitions so they don't say require, or we can take the requirements and put them maybe in another section that's labeled lodging.
Well, but let's just take out the word require. That's about all you'd have to do to just define it. You see what I'm saying? If you get rid of the verb, you're good.
Right. So what I'm suggesting, these ones, I really like what he's done here to differentiate. But the simplicity of these, you can go to any town and say, I want to go to a motel, and it's your definition, and it's going to be similar. Okay. These are very specific for our town because people are very anal about differentiating
Now.
between what a motel is and what an STR
not
is and
anal,
what a
it's just-
hotel.
'cause
Well,
It affects them.
there was a particular person just recently who was worried about automobile service stations and fuel station, and was so particular about it that he spent 3 hours trying to convince everybody that that was.
Some people are into semantics. Give
Right.
them a break.
So we don't want that to happen. So we want to make sure that they have
Got
all the differentiations, but yet we don't want requirements that are different than an actual definition in our definitions. So we can, there was some kind of heading we can put on top of them. Or we can put them in a different section, and we can have just a regular definition and then refer them to the ordinance where it says this is what a motel is. Okay. Most of those uses are in our conditional use section already. We have a lodging section there.
Yeah.
And we can just refer it to there and then put these very specific requirements for a motel in there if we need to.
Okay. Well, so, yeah. So
Okay.
I need to look at, I mean,
So we will put that together. If you guys like these definitions and these are what we have, and we kind of combine those together and have a document ready for next month, I'm suggesting that we do that. So we're not going to change a lot of this. We're just going to put it in different places. Is that okay with you guys? Or we'll put a heading, or we'll put we'll
I need
have
to
something
see
that
with my
points it.
eyeballs, So I'll get with you and you can show me what you're talking about.
So, okay.
We'll bring this item back for discussion next.
Yeah. So I'll get. with you.
Next,
Does
however,
Does it need to be for discussion since these are the definitions? They're
Yeah,
not going to
probably.
change wording wise. They're just going to change where they're going.
They want to see what you come up with, Sean. Or-
I'm like I say, it's not going to be complicated. It's just going to say, this is where it's found.
I cannot see how you make a differentiation
without some sort of requirements
Well,
being in the definition.
you just don't have to use the word required. I mean, that's silly, but that's what he's talking about. Weird. Anyway, so yeah, we can figure it out, right? We got this.
Okay,
Let's
like
bring
I
it back
say, we
next
were
time.
going to make the definition changes here,
Okay.
and then we have these definitions. We're just gonna,
So you're just trying to organize it differently.
We'll bring,
that's all.
just, can you, if you'd bring that for discussion next month.
I think we can have it ready within just a very short time, a few days, if you want to see it. Because I don't think we need to hold this off. I think this is something along with the definitions that we just need to have
He
done.
did the work already, so.
So I'm saying all the work's done. Can I put it together, get it to you guys? You have any comments on it before that, and then we'll have it ready for public hearing? Because this is the discussion. This is the time that we do that. I don't think there'll be significant changes. They'll just be procedural. I'm going to point it here, point it there, or put it in this section. That's all. Does that make sense, Cameron? Kind of to your point before. Instead of just having another discussion on it and drag it out, I think we just need to, this is one that we could move forward pretty quick.
Let's take the example of short-term rental. What will the definition of that look like?
So first, the question is what concern are we having in the town, Gene, with the definitions between, is it this one and motel?
Yes.
Okay,
The problem is that because we don't have it in the definitions, where you can't be pushing them off into other areas. You want to take the word required, I don't care, but the definition needs to state what the difference is between them. That's where the challenge has been issued.
Yeah. So,
So the definitions that are written there are the things that make them what they are. There may be things you want to add to it, I don't know. but
not add.
My suggestion is that you want to take the word require out of it so it doesn't take that on that word bothers you, that's fine. But it is a requirement. You can't go to a motel without an in-person check-in. That's a requirement of a motel. So it isn't something that's, arbitrary or capricious or that's leading you down some other rabbit hole, because that applies to all motels, no matter what our ordinances say. That is the definition of a motel. So I understand your concern with the requirement, but there is, in my opinion, some need to get these in.
Yeah.
let's see. The interesting thing is the current definitions, the current ones, and I was going to adjust or change those slightly on motel. Without even changing them at all, they're differentiated. So I don't know why we're having heartburn myself, but unless it's a,
Attorney stated that those two
we're
were close enough.
close enough.
to have them differentiated.
Mhm.
Those two specifically, actually, I figured since we're in there, it would be good to take the other things and say, and I created a chart, which isn't part of this, but the chart basically says, this type of lodging unit has these things. All the way across, and you just
Right.
take the things that are
And-
different about them from the others.
And,
That's what
and we can put the chart somewhere in our conditional use, whatever, so it further differentiates. So I agree. I like these definitions. Don't like the word require. We could adjust that, but it's not going to change significantly.
We'll bring this exact thing back for public hearing next month. Sean can also bring, provided that he has it in to the clerk in time, Sean can also bring his writings in for public hearing next time and we can discuss it then.
Thank you.
Does that work,
Yes.
Sean?
Yep.
Okay. Anyone care if we just not worry about 4 tonight? Okay,
We should not worry about
yeah. Commissioner comments is the last thing on the agenda.
I just would like to ask that we spend time on, yeah, just that line before. Let's make a discussion. Let's do some work on that.
Short-term
That
rentals?
road. No, I'm gonna write that up, right? So-
Yeah,
so
so which
that's
one are you
no,
talking? I'm not sure.
highway. Let's talk about the
Oh,
access. Let's-
Pocketville,
Yeah,
yes.
let's just make sure we spend
We'll-
some time on that. as a
We'll continue to
work
do that,
meeting.
yeah.
That's it.
Wyatt, do you have anything?
I'm good.
Angelia?
No.
Sean?
Unfortunately, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, go.
Go, hurry.
I did finish that book on zoning. It was quite enlightening. I see the short-term rental thing and the article that was given by the mayor to all of us to read. Quite, the slant on that was quite obvious, what direction they'd like us to look at short-term rentals as a bad thing. I believe the housing crisis that we're looking at is caused not by short-term rentals, but by government and by zoning. We should not be focusing our attention on zoning, which segregates people and uses. We should be focusing our time on actually planning infrastructure and ordinances about noise and lights and things that mitigate those concerns. We should also be focusing on density issues. And along with that is height. Most cities are very well managed and maintained by taking the area and instead of spreading out and sprawling, they go up. So
Those are the crappy cities.
so
Those are the crappy cities. Trust me. We need to
something-
take you on a trip.
Hold on.
So just something that I've learned and been looking at and been studying. So I just wanted to share that again, the zoning, the way government has pushed people and places and uses to certain areas are more of the effect of that is what we're feeling. That's why housing prices are so astronomical. And we need to focus on possibility of having multifamily dwellings
Oh,
in
Sean,
our town,
You're killing me, Smalls.
so we can adjust and fix some of those issues instead of being the NIMBYs that we hear the public clamor with. So anyways, that's quick comments. Also, I think we were quite thrown under the bus as planning and zoning during the appeal hearing. And I think we do a very good job. We study a lot. We focus the issues. We listen to the public. We do a very good job on that, even though it was said that we don't. So congratulations on doing your job. Continue with that, despite all the word that is said opposite of that. So thank you.
Thanks, Sean.
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Got a motion to adjourn the meeting. Do I have a second? Wyatt made the motion. Brownwood seconded the motion. All in favor? Aye. I don't care if
Okay,
you're
good work.
opposed, by the way.
Huh?